Doing the same type of exercise every day, but calling it something different is like making a cheeseburger and one day putting lettuce on it and then the next day putting a tomato on it, but saying that they're completely different. Like it's still a cheeseburger. Now, what we're here to talk about is program design. What I'm here to give you is a very simple, very sustainable, long-term athletic development that takes distinctly different categories of exercise and energy system and provides it to you in a simple framework that you can use. Now, before we go into the specifics, I want to go through a little coaching with you. Will you agree to do that? Okay, good. Now, the coaching that I want to go through you and me just together, one-on-one, is to make sure that we're understanding why this is necessary to do, because if you overdo one particular category of exercise, it's very easy to get burnt out. So when you're young, man, you can pretty much get away with anything. And when I say young, I don't mean biological age, I mean training age. When you start exercising, and pretty much anything can get you results because it's disrupting homeostasis, and it is providing a stimulus that's different than what you experienced before. But at some point, after you train for a while, it does matter what you do. It does matter that there's some variety. And why is that? Well, because in order to be healthy, you need different components in different categories of exercise. There's going to be times where you need to be strong. There's going to be times where you need to have some stamina. There's going to be times where you need to be able to be in certain poses and positions. And so we want to train all of that. But like the cheeseburger analogy, a lot of times people claim to have some variation when in reality it's the same thing. It's the same energy being used, just with different movements. So it's like Zoolander's look, right? Ferrari and La Tigra and Blue Steel, they're all the same thing.
Blue Steel? Ferrari? La Tigra? They're the same thing!
Even though we're calling them different names. And so we need to have distinctly different categories of exercise. And here's a part I need you to agree with, we need to acknowledge that it doesn't have to be hard every single day that we exercise, because we're trying to sustain this. So repeat after me. It's not how hard I exercise today. Good. It's how many years I can go without stopping. That's what we're here to accomplish. Now, most gyms provide you one thing. You go into a hot yoga gym, you would be shocked if they turned the thermostat down and they were dancing in there. If you went to a high-intensity interval gym with treadmills and light resistance training, you would be shocked if they were on the ground stretching out for an hour with Enya playing. If you went into a powerlifting gym, you would be shocked if you saw those guys on a treadmill. Now, those three silly examples of yoga, of high-intensity training, of lifting weights, those are distinctly unique categories that we want to pull from. Now, all of those ways of training aren't actually silly. They're great. Yoga's great. High-intensity training is great. Strength training is great. And they're so great that we want to make sure that we prioritize each one of those, but in a different amount. So when we say yoga, we could say that's one specific way of exercising where it's a little longer in duration, it's a little lower in breath rate, so it's more sustainable. And because of that, you're going to need to breathe quite a bit. So we'll call that aerobic style training. Even though you and I probably don't typically associate yoga with aerobics, that is technically what it is. Now, lifting weights would be in that category of strength training, and there's a few different things that we could prioritize there. We could prioritize maximal force, so as powerful as we can make an exercise. The weight is low, but we're trying to move it as fast as we possibly can. That's things like Olympic weightlifting. We could think about contracting as much muscle as we can, so lifting as much weight or trying to see how strong we could get. The third category is strength endurance, and so it's looking at things like hypertrophy, or actually growing the diameter of the muscle, or seeing if we can make the muscle more enduring. So that's strength training. And then last is this high intensity category that's been very popular for the last several years, and it definitely has a time and a place. But specifically when we say high intensity, it means that the limiting factor is your breath rate. The limiting factor is your capacity to exchange gases. These high efforts use a mixture of oxygen and then energy produced without oxygen, and they're very potent, and we want them, but we want them in really limited supply. Now, after 16 years of experimenting with program design, training someone that is just looking for a general base of health, not specializing in any one of these things, we found that this spread needs to look like this: 3, 2, and 1. It's cute, right? This represents the hours of exercise on a weekly basis that you will devote to one of these 3 categories. Now, 3 is 3 hours of sustainable aerobic activity. Doesn't mean 3 hours in a row. This is over a weekly period. This could look like a 90-minute ruck one day. This could look like a 30-minute bike ride another day, and followed by 3 20-minute jogs. Another example, this could be mixed modes of exercise. So this could be a hodgepodge of things like a Concept 2 rower, Concept 2 bike. Maybe we're doing a farmer's carry, a step up. Maybe this is in an AMRAP format, so as many rounds as possible in not 20 minutes, but like 60 minutes, a much longer duration, which implies that we're going to have a lower level of perceived exertion so we can prioritize aerobics, not anaerobics. Next, we're going to pencil in 2 hours of strength training. Now, again, there's a wide berth in how you go about this. There's a wide berth in what you're going to prioritize: power, strength, or strength endurance, and also how you split this up over weekly increments. This could be a full body resistance training session that you do for 40 minutes 3 times a week. This could be an upper lower body split that you do twice for an hour long. This could be 24 minutes 5 times a week of some nice calisthenics that you do in the garage. Who knows? You're the artist. Now, lastly, the most potent category gets the least amount of airtime. It's only 1 hour of this high intensity training. And this is something that we've learned through experience. After doing this every single day for years, we realized that you actually don't have to. You don't have to go hard in the paint every single day in order to get results. Now, can you get results that way? Yes. Are they sustainable? So you do want to get your heart working as hard as you can, but we can do that very sparingly. It makes sense that because the intensity is so high, that the duration or the frequency of this can be significantly lower. Now, when we talk about this, we mean like really, really, really high level of exertion. Not that gray area where it's like, I could kind of keep going. I could kind of not, where it's as hard as you can go. What's good is when you limit yourself to only a few of these blackout drunk sessions of exercise, you know what I'm talking about, we can make the cortisol binge even more potent, which I guess is the point of limiting us to this amount. And this could look like something in your gym setting, the run-of-the-mill high-intensity training session, a CrossFit benchmark. This could also be outside of the gym. Some of the most potent, intense-based sessions I've had have been on the track, 120-meter repeats with adequate recovery. This could be on the Echo bike in the garage. We're talking 40 seconds followed by 2 minutes and 40 seconds of rest. Sky's the limit as long as you feel like the limiting factor is your capacity to sustain that intensity. So there you have it. This isn't something found on PubMed. This isn't something found in the Huberman podcast. This is what we have come up with after 16 years of experimentation. And I can tell you that it works very well. It works very well because it provides a framework. It provides a template that you can then go and customize and make your own and prioritize whatever it is that you want within that very balanced developmental model. This has been a monumental statement about incremental change brought to you by the good people at BPR.